Hello, I'm James Stewart, Sheriff of Anoka County, and welcome back to the Sheriff Show. On this episode of the Sheriff Show, we will ride along and spend some time with one of our recreational enforcement deputies to learn more about their role. We'll learn about how our dive team prepares to perform their duties during their annual winter training. We'll be provided a behind-the-scenes overview of Anoka County's Central Communications Division, learn more about our Community Service Officer Unit, and we'll talk about the partnership that we have with the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center. The Sheriff Show starts next. The Sheriff's Office is responsible for enforcement of state statutes regulating watercraft and other recreational vehicles. As you know, Anoka County allows outdoor enthusiasts the opportunities to hunt, fish, ride on trails, enjoy boating, and much more. Since safety is always paramount, our deputies patrol the county's waterways and snowmobile trails, enforcing state, county, and local ordinances. Often these activities occur in the areas of our county where our patrol vehicles cannot reach. Our office needs to access these areas in order to enforce laws and keep our citizens safe by using a combination of full-time, part-time, and special or volunteer deputies. Let us ride along with Deputy Justin Aldrink, who can tell us more about our Recreational Enforcement Unit.
My name is Deputy Justin Aldrink. I'm with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. My current assignment is Recreational Enforcement within our Patrol Division. What that means is in the winter, I'm out on the snowmobiles. During snowmobile enforcement, my main goal is to make sure people are being safe on their snowmobiles. Other areas that we patrol are the waterways in the summer on our boats. During boating enforcement, our primary thing again is safety. We want to make sure that we have all of our proper safety gear with us at all times. Other areas that we patrol are on ATV. As our recreational enforcement unit, we need to be able to get to the areas where people tend to go to avoid our regular patrol cars. So we have a variety of vehicles and boats to get into every area that we need to. So while we're out on our snowmobiles, we want to make sure that we're staying safe, and one of the safety concerns with snowmobiles is abiding by the speed limits. The speed limit on any given lake, unless it's over 10,000 acres, which we do not have in Anoka County, is 50 miles an hour. That also applies to our ditches, which is 50 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit's posted on that roadway, whichever's less. As far as our trail systems, again, it's the 50 mile an hour trail speed unless it's posted otherwise at our trailheads. We do have several trail systems within our Anoka County that are posted as 30 mile an hour. One of the areas that we have major concern with speed is out on the Rum River, where people are in excess of 50 miles an hour quite often. We are out on that river often patrolling it, using our radars and watching for speeds. Okay. Another thing that we key on enforcement with our snowmobiles is trespassing. Trespassing is our number one reason why we lose our trail systems. Therefore, we like to make sure that sleds are staying on our trails at all times when we're back in the woods or even going across our local farm fields. One of the things that we'll do, whether it's in a boat or on a snowmobile or ATV, is check fishing licenses. So if you're ice fishing, things that we look for are how many holes you're fishing out of and how many lines that you have in the water when you're ice fishing. As well as out on a boat, we'll bring our boat up to you and check your fishing licenses, making sure that everybody in your boat's got one that's fishing, and make sure that they're within the current season. The other things that we watch out for are limits and size of fish depending on our various waterways within our county. While we're out checking fishing licenses in our boats, we're going to also make sure that we have our proper safety equipment with us. That means we have to have our throwables, our life jackets for everybody that's inside the watercraft. We also have to have our fire extinguishers and making sure that the horns or whistles work that are on the boat. Other things that we do with our water patrol is rescue situations. If somebody's swimming or medical's out on our waterways, we're going to be our first response unit to go out onto the water and aid in that rescue attempt. Again, as well as in the winter on our ice surfaces, as we get to thin ice, we do have vehicles that we can go out on thin ice. We have our airboat or a fan boat that we take out on the ice to aid in rescue attempts as well. All right. As part of the Anoka County Recreational Enforcement Unit, we need to be able to get to all areas within our county, even the ones that our patrol cars cannot get to. Therefore, we utilize several different pieces of equipment to get into those areas to prevent further criminal activity, whether it's people evading us or just general trespassing.
As you can see, our Recreational Enforcement Unit covers a wide variety of responsibilities. At the core of each of these areas is the goal of keeping you and your family safe. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show after this.
Mom and Daddy teach us how to eat healthy and exercise.
According to the Center of Disease Control, 17% of children and adolescents are obese. Lead by example. Teach your children to eat healthy and exercise.
Get set, go!
In the 1960s, the Anoka County Sheriff's Office created a dive team to respond to water-related incidents and emergencies. The team has grown and developed over the years. The unit specializes in swift water rescues, floods, drownings, evidence recovery, and search and rescue. The Rum and Mississippi rivers run through Anoka County, and we have 165 lakes ranging in size from 1 acre to nearly 1,500 acres. The dive team is ready to respond to any emergency at any of these bodies of water. In Minnesota, we know that the water-related incidents and emergencies extend beyond the warm weather months and into the cold months of winter. This is why it is critical for our dive team to perform yearly trainings underneath the ice to ensure that our team is ready to go no matter when they are called. Sergeant Dave Wiley will now take us on one of their recent winter trainings. Let's head out on this year's ice dive.
My name is Sergeant Dave Wiley. I'm one of the patrol sergeants at the Sheriff's Office. I am also one of the team leaders for the dive team. Our dive team is made up of approximately 20 individuals who are full-time employees at the Sheriff's Office, and they come from various divisions inside the office. We do operations throughout the year, which also includes the wintertime, especially in the spring and fall. Unfortunately, we have situations where people go through the ice when the ice isn't adequate, but even in the wintertime, after enough ice has formed, we've still had incidents where we need to recover a drowning victim or somebody that had either gone into an area where there is no ice and fallen in, or where it's thin ice and they've fallen in. Today what we're doing is simulating a situation like that, where we've had a simulated victim fall through an unsafe area of ice. And what we do is set up in an area of safer ice, a few feet away or as far away as we deem necessary. And we will cut a hole by using an auger, drilling three holes, and then we have a long barred chainsaw that we cut out the ice in between them, making a triangle. We'll then use that as our point of entry, take a compass heading from where we believe the victim is, and with a tethered diver with a rope on them, we'll have the diver go down, and they will perform a search pattern in the direction that we believe the victim to be. Our divers have communications on their helmets and face masks that allow them to speak with us, and vice versa, so we can have somebody on shore or on the ice that will be able to communicate with the diver. It, as you can imagine, is paramount to be able to communicate with the diver and let them know that their search is either correct or needs to be adjusted. Also, for a matter of safety, we're able to talk to the diver so that if they get hung up or if they have some sort of underwater emergency, we can get another diver to them immediately. As far as the functions of the dive team, we do obviously look for drowning victims that have gone in, but we do also occasionally we're used for finding either weapons or articles, pieces of evidence that have gone into a water body and need to be recovered. Most often that's going to be a weapon like a firearm or a knife. When you do venture onto the ice in the wintertime, we ask you to have with you some necessary safety equipment. If you're driving a car on the ice, make sure that the ice is thick enough for that. Have at least a foot of ice is best, and it must be good ice. Sometimes the ice will freeze and refreeze and thaw and freeze, and it doesn't make for good ice. So we want nice, solid, clear ice. When you're driving on the ice, it's best to roll your windows down so that if you were to go through, you can get out quickly. It's best to have a life jacket, preferably on you. There are also suggested items would be like ice picks, which you can purchase at any sporting goods store. You can actually make them yourselves too. Most of the time, you're going to have to self-rescue. We do respond to incidents like this, but because of proximity and locations, time is of the essence, and we can't always get there fast enough.
This team of experts trains hard to ensure that they are well prepared for any type of emergency that arises. As an example, our dive team was instrumental during the rescue and recovery efforts during the I-35 bridge collapse, as well as numerous other incidents varying in scope and size. We certainly appreciate their commitment to excellence through service. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show.
I eat healthy enough most days. I don't need to exercise, right?
False. Less than 5% of adults participate in at least 30 minutes of physical activity each day.
I don't have time to exercise.
False. The average American watches over 5 hours of TV a day. Plenty of time to hit the gym.
I walked to class today. That's enough exercise, right?
False. With at least 20 minutes a day, exercise is known to boost energy, reduce your risk of disease, and give yourself an overall better mood during the day. You're always going to have an excuse to not exercise, but why let that get in the way? Get off the couch, get outside, and have fun.
Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes of a 911 call? The Anoka County Central Communications Division is one of our county partners and is instrumental in answering 911 and other service calls and dispatching the appropriate first responders to your emergency situation, including the response of our deputies. Communications Coordinator Janie Bielke will explain the duties and roles of Central Communications, including tips for anyone dialing 911, so that you provide the best information needed for emergency personnel to respond appropriately.
The Anoka County 911 Coordinator. Today you're going to be learning about the 911 Center. In Anoka County, just for some basics, we have 330,000 population. There are 21 cities, and for dispatching we have 11 police departments and 15 fire departments. Out of the fire departments, only 3 are full-time, the other are paid on call. In the Anoka County Dispatch Center, we handle all the calls for all Anoka County 911. We are not under the jurisdiction of the Sheriff's Office, but instead we're under the jurisdiction of the county itself. We have a brand new computer-aided dispatch, we call it CAD, system that was instigated December 9th of 2014. So we're brand new at it and we're still learning the ins and outs of the whole system. Some of the changes that come along with it are we now have a a mapping that shows us, it's AVL, Automatic Vehicle Locator. So squads and fire trucks that have a specific GPS unit attached to it, we can see on the map. Other compatibilities of this new system are with what's coming in the future called Next Generation 911. Next Gen 911 we call it. With that, people will be able to text 911, they'll be able to send us photos, they'll be able to send us videos, and we'll be able to add that to whatever the call might be. Position for one of the 911 dispatchers to sit at. We have 5 screens at this one. A radio screen with all the different radio channels or talk groups. This screen is showing the AVL, the Automatic Vehicle Locator. So if you can see the little blue, that's where one of the police units are. Then these 2 screens, Kim is working on putting in the calls and adding things to calls. It'll show the existence of where the squads are, their status, and pending calls that need to go out. And then on the far left is the actual 911 phone system, which will pop up a map when you dial 911, and they'll be able to enter that information into the computer and forward it to the police or fire dispatchers. So this is another one of our positions in the center. It has the same 5 computers as all the other positions, but we've designated this Channel 3, we call it, because it also does state transactions, that kind of thing, so running warrant checks, for example. So Anne-Marie's got the 5 screens. We also have this box over here is our civil defense sirens, where we can set them off. We set them off the first Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. to test them. Then when there's severe weather, we will also set them off here. Lots of different sirens in the county. We can set off individual sirens, or we can set off groupings of sirens if we need to. And then the additional 2 computer screens are state terminals, like I said, where we run warrant checks and that kind of transaction. Now we're looking at the fire rescue position. She also backs as a phone position. Again, they have the same 5 computer screens. We have an additional computer that's the backup in case we lose power. We also have an iPad that will show us the weather, so we can get at a glance the wind direction and speed if we happen to have a situation where there was gas or smoke that the fire departments would want to know about. In Anoka County, we do not do pre-arrival instructions, so if you were to have a heart attack, we don't give CPR instructions on the phone. We immediately transfer that over to the Alina Ambulance or North Ambulance centers, and they do the pre-arrival. In the meantime, we would be sending out the rescue team and the police officers.
This well-trained team of professionals is instrumental in Anoka County public safety, and we are all safer as a result of their service. The Sheriff Show continues after this.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities. Maybe you're commuting to work, going to school, or out running errands. We all play a role in keeping our community safe. Report suspicious activity.
Our Community Service Officer Unit consists of civilians who are trained to assist our patrol division. This is a great way for those interested in law enforcement to learn the basics and get a feel for this career area. Community service officers are a great resource to the community as they can perform many tasks, allowing our deputies to remain focused on handling calls for service or meeting other needs. The CSOs help in providing a strong presence in our communities and neighborhoods and provide a wider array of services to our residents than most people realize. Community Service Officer Nick Duran has more about the Community Service Officer program.
I'm Nick Duran, Community Service Officer with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office Community Service Officer Program has a total of 12 community service officers that work throughout the county in a variety of different areas. We have an Andover CSO that works 7 days a week, varying from 8 to 2 and noon to 6. We also have a countywide shift from 8 to noon and from 2 to 6. We also cover East Bethel and the city of Columbus. As community service officers, we respond to a variety of different calls, including vehicle lockouts, motorist assist, and all animal complaints. While not on CSO calls, we'll often assist the deputies with a variety of different calls. This could include assisting on a traffic stop or assisting at an accident scene. While assisting on an accident scene, we'll often direct traffic and assist in filling out tow sheets. We'll also do extra patrols of parks, neighborhoods, and businesses, and look for stalled motorists on the side of the road who may need assistance. As many of us have probably done in our life, we'll oftentimes lock our keys inside of our vehicle. By calling the non-emergency dispatch number, you can ask for a CSO to come out and assist you to open that vehicle. As Anoka County CSOs, this is free to our Anoka County citizens. As community service officers, we respond to a variety of different animal calls. These animal calls could include a lost dog, in which we would file a report in case the dog is found. Also, found dogs, in which we would take to the appropriate kennel for that city and notify the owner as soon as we can locate one. Also take bite reports from any animal bites such as dogs or cats. These bite reports are simply to keep on file to ensure that we don't have dangerous dogs within our cities. We'll also pick up found property or possibly recovered stolen property from parks and other areas throughout the cities. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office Community Service Officer Program is designed for individuals who are currently going to school for law enforcement or have graduated with their law enforcement degree and are hoping to get into the profession. It's a great way for individuals to learn hands-on experience in that field, as well as make great connections in the law enforcement field. The Community Service Officer Program is a great way for the Sheriff's Office to assist the citizens within our county, and a great way to leave a positive impact on our community.
I mentioned that the CSO program is a great way to begin a career in law enforcement. As evidence, since the taping of that segment, Nick Duran has been promoted and hired as a patrol deputy. Congratulations, Nick, and thank you to every one of our community service officers who work tirelessly to ensure that the needs of our public are always met. We'll be right back with more of the Sheriff Show after this.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
The Jacob Wetterling Resource Center is a great organization whose goal is to educate and assist families and communities in order to prevent the exploitation of children. We are proud to be able to partner with this great organization in our efforts to keep children safe within our county. Here's Program Manager Allison Fay to provide an overview of the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center.
The Jacob Wetterling Resource Center was founded in 1990 following the abduction of Jacob Wetterling from his rural Minnesota home. And when he was taken in 1989, his parents, they started getting donations of people wanting to make a difference, and so they started a nonprofit organization. And when they were founded in 1990, they had basically two missions. One is to prevent abuse and abduction from ever happening again, And the other one is if someone does go missing or is abused, to have people to help walk them through that process and to be advocates. So we still to this day, 25 years later, have those two main solid programs of our prevention education and our victim assistance. A lot of our work is prevention. We spend a lot of time at parents groups and faith communities, training professionals who are in the field, about different offender typologies or how to work with the media or whatever it might be when it comes to these cases, because they don't happen very often, the stereotypical kidnappings, but when they do, there's a lot that happens very quickly. So trying to give information out about abuse prevention. So a lot of our work is education, but we also have the advocacy program. People can call our 1-800 number, 1-800-325-HOPE, and they can get connected with an advocate who can help connect them to their local services, walk them through the process. We get a wide range of calls, everything from little ones being concerned about something they saw on the internet, to parents calling because a child has run away from home. And everything in that spectrum, we work to try to help families through those situations. I think the most important message is that everyone has a voice in child abuse prevention. For some parents, they talk about they don't want to have the important conversations about prevention with their children because they don't want to scare their kids to death. And what we hear more and more is that education moves people to more conversations and fear just freezes them. We want to make sure that those conversations that are so important, basic things about, if anyone's trying to do something that breaks a family safety rule, it's not your fault, but let me know about it. Or if anyone is acting in a way that makes your gut instinct go off, with kids we call it that uh-oh feeling, to let us know. So we move far away from do we know the person or not? Because we know in almost every case of abuse and abduction, the child knows the offender. And instead we move to how does this person make me feel? What is this person asking me to do? And so we really encourage parents to have those conversations early on. And if they need help on how to have the conversations or some of the what-if games that we use, they can go to our website, which is www.jwrc.org. And we have conversation prompts. We have what kids should know at different ages, how to do a family safety night. We want to make safety easy for families. Well, I've been doing prevention education here at the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center since 2001. And in 2008, I was having a hard time finding books that dealt with personal safety, that focused on the fact that most of these are people that we do know. Most of the offenders are people in the child circle, and a lot of the books that were coming across my desk were coming across as recommended focused on the stuff that didn't work and were really scary and scared kids to death. And so we wanted to move away from the scary stuff, but to give parents tools that they could use to have the conversation. And so I worked with Free Spirit Publishing in Minneapolis, which is a wonderful publishing firm for self-help books for kids, to do some basic safety books, and then in the front give a letter to parents, and in the back do some what-if games, so that it would be one of many tools that parents could use as they're trying to start these important conversations with their children. It was a wonderful journey, and the journey continues today. Playing baseball with your child, taking time to build a fort, those important memories that kids have can also help strengthen those bonds of communication so they can come to their parents if there's ever a concern or an issue.
We certainly appreciate the efforts of Allison and her team at the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center as we all strive to work together to keep our communities and our children safe. We'll be back with more of the Sheriff's Show after this. Finally, as winter is nearing its end, I want to remind every resident to be extremely cautious while out on our lakes, rivers, and other waterways in our county. Be sure to check for safe ice and always have proper gear to keep you safe while enjoying our winter sports. Thank you for watching this episode of The Sheriff's Show.